For me, for example, it took me a lot of work to come to where I am. I'm still not where I want to be. Like doing this job, it's a good job, but I have bigger dreams.
Hey, you! In this episode, we're continuing the South African road trip. And we're going to different places in this episode. You'll get to know some facts about Port Elizabeth. And in the second half of the episode, we're in Durban. And most of the time, we're on the roof of Durban, on the rooftop of the iconic Moses Mabhida Stadium, where I speak to a young rapper about politics, the city, the country, and its challenges. And then you get to hear some of his music. But we begin where I left you, in my rented Toyota Corolla, driving on the garden route towards Port Elizabeth. My name's Palle, and this is the Radio Vagabond podcast. Now I'm heading to a national park called Tsitsikamma, and I hope that I'm able to drive through it. I don't have that much time, but it's only 11:30, so still I can take some time to take a look at Tsitsikamma. The park is called Tsitsikamma National Park. Again, for this episode, I put a map on the radiovagabond.com showing you exactly where everything is. And when you enter a park like this, here in South Africa, you have to pay a small fee to enter. And as I was entering, a guy told me that there was something wrong with my car.
I think there's something wrong there with your vehicle.
What? I heard of it. What?
I think it should be.
What is that? I heard a sound.
It should have go in here, but it's gonna come out again. So let's rather.
We'll get back to that a little bit later. Inside the park, I stopped the car at the ocean and went for a walk on the trail in the beautiful nature. I'm walking on the trail that leads to the waterfall here in the national park. It's a long hike, 6.5 kilometers, and it will take 3 to 4 hours if you're in good shape. And I won't have time for that in order to leave the park before it gets dark. So, and there's some other stuff I want to see. So right now I'm just enjoying the trail with the ocean on my left-hand side, and it's very beautiful. I don't know if you noticed it, but the guy at the gate, he said there's something wrong with your vehicle. In the front end of the Toyota Corolla, there's a thing that's fallen down and scraping against the road as I'm driving. We managed to push it back up, and hopefully it'll stay there until I hand in the car tomorrow afternoon in Port Elizabeth. I don't have that far to go, but I'm glad that this is not the car that I'm driving for the next 3 weeks all the way to Johannesburg. Yeah. And no, it turned out to be nothing serious and nothing that would cost me anything to the rental company, but I did get a scare. When I'm saying that I'm handing in the car in Port Elizabeth, it's because that's where I'll get on a plane and skip the part between Port Elizabeth and Durban. It would take me a few days to drive that way, so in order to have more time for the things ahead, I decided to do that. In Tsitsikamma National Park, I found a place to have lunch and then walked out on another trail. Okay, I'm hiking now after a good lunch, filled up with energy. I'm hiking the Mouth Trail. It's a trail that leads to the Storm River mouth, where the river runs into the ocean. Above the river, there's a suspension bridge, a small pedestrian bridge that can take us across the river. And from there it's just the way back again, and it's like literally like walking in the jungle, except for the nice boardwalks they put out for the guests. They call this the garden on the garden route, Tsitsikamma National Park. I definitely recommend that you pay a visit to Tsitsikamma National Park between Neisner and Port Elizabeth. Okay, now I'm heading back towards the car, and we'll be driving the rest of the way for today to where I'm staying tonight in Port Elizabeth. On my way to Port Elizabeth, I was driving on the big 4-lane freeway, and all of a sudden I saw that I was running out of gas. And here they don't have gas stations spread along the freeway, so I was getting a little bit worried because I didn't want to run dry, and I don't know exactly how long the light had been on. But thankfully, there was a sign saying a gas station 8 kilometers that way. So I turned left and found the gas station, got gas on, and because my local cell phone doesn't work here, there's simply no signal. I can't mark in a route and say find the way to the place I'm staying in, Port Elizabeth. So instead I made my way back towards this big beautiful freeway, and there were no signs saying Port Elizabeth. I passed the freeway, and that might have been it, but a little bit longer down the way there was a sign saying Port Elizabeth this way. And here I am. For the last 35 kilometers I've been driving on the old highway alongside the big new freeway, the big 4-lane road. I can see it once in a while. This road is very narrow from time to time. It's got potholes. It's not one of those roads that have been maintained, because now they have the new road. And I can't get on it. I can see it. I can see it all the time, but I can't get on that big, beautiful road again. So I guess I'm doing the old highway to Port Elizabeth. But yeah, it's okay. It's okay, and the scenery is still beautiful. On the right-hand side, I can sometimes see the ocean. Not right now. Beautiful fields, very green, and then this freeway on my left, alongside of me. But it's almost 4 o'clock, and it's around 100 kilometers back, so I'll be there before dark, no problem. And hopefully I'll get a signal on the phone so I can find the place. I'm sure I will.
This episode is brought to you in part by hotels25.com. Whenever you need a hotel anywhere in the world, go to hotels25.com. That would get you the best price. Hotels25.com searches a bunch of the biggest hotel sites in one simple search. Hotels25.com.
This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
It's day 5 of my South African road trip. I'm in Port Elizabeth, or more precisely, I'm 13 kilometers north of Port Elizabeth. The reason I know that specifically is I just passed a sign saying Port Elizabeth 13 kilometers. I just checked out of the hotel room, a tiny room here in the northern part of Port Elizabeth, and now I'm heading into the city to take a look at that. I didn't get to do it yesterday, so now I have a few hours before I'm flying out of Port Elizabeth. I'm dumping the car and then flying to Durban later this afternoon. I've been driving in South Africa for quite a while. Been driving many miles, and here you drive on the left side of the road, which is opposite from what I'm used to and what I've grown up with, driving on that side of the road. And in the beginning, I was very focused. I was very alert as to where to be when I was driving, and especially the roundabouts wasn't that bad. I thought that would be the difficult part, but no, that wasn't that bad. But oh, hang on, I took a wrong turn here, it seems like. What to do? Okay, I missed a turn for the second time. Maybe I shouldn't be talking and driving at the same time. Speaking about being alert in the traffic. No, in the beginning I thought that roundabouts would be the difficult part, but that's not so bad. It's more like the big intersections, or as they call it down here, the robots. The light crossings, they call them robots here, and I just need to focus, make a turn here. And if you do a right turn in one of those big intersections, it's something that where I really need to focus. Where do I place myself in the traffic and all that? Okay, make a U-turn up ahead. So now let me just do those U-turns here. I'll be right back.
If you're one of those people that have shared this podcast on social media, or maybe just told a friend out there in real life, I just want to say thank you so much. That means so much to me. Thank you so much.
Okay, I missed my turn 3 or 4 times, so quite a bit of a detour. No, I should be back on track now. Where was I? Yeah, when I'm doing the big right turns, when you're used to driving on the right side of the road and you're doing a right turn, you only need to look at what's coming from the left, because what's coming from the right is on the other side of the road. That you're turning onto. So that's something when now that I'm getting more relaxed and more used to driving and not paying as close attention, it gets more normal. I've seen myself sometimes only looking at the left, what's coming from the left, and then when nothing else is coming, I'm about to drive onto the road, and of course I should look for what's coming from the right, because that's right on the lane that I'm going to be passing in order to get to the opposite lane for in a right turn. And I've seen myself a couple of times almost driving onto the road when something is coming from the right, and the people in the cars are looking at me as if I'm an idiot. Also, a few times when I'm on a small road, I've gotten out on it and been driving on the right side of the road in a sort of a residential area, and not really thinking much about it, because it's just second nature, like walking. You get in the car and you drive onto the road, and then, oh my God, I'm driving on the right side, and then you throw the car on the left side of the road, and the cars coming in front of you head on are looking at you what is this jerk doing? So I don't have any intentions on getting in any accidents as I'm driving here in South Africa, so I need to promise myself to be paying more attention to the traffic and what the hell I'm doing when I'm driving.
Let's just have a few facts about Port Elizabeth. And now, facts about where we are. Port Elizabeth is in Nelson Mandela Bay municipal area, and it's actually South Africa's second largest city with regards to the area, at least. If you go by population count, 1.2 million, it's the 5th largest city in the country. The city is nicknamed PE by South Africans and is also known as the Friendly City. The city has 40 kilometers of unspoiled coastline, consisting mostly of beaches. Forget about Route 66. Port Elizabeth has something they call Route 67. Spread out around Port Elizabeth, you can experience a collection of 67 artworks symbolizing Nelson Mandela's 67 years of work.
And that was facts about where we are.
When we come back, I've taken a flight of a bit more than 900 kilometers. Here I visit the majestic Moses Mabhida Stadium, where I speak to a young guy called...
My name is Nkonzo. Surname is Ngai.
Oh.
I know it's a click. Click is very difficult.
My name is Palle. Stay with us. If you're interested in travel blogging and other content creation about travel, you might be interested in listening to the T-Bex podcast called Travel Matters.
Welcome to Travel Matters, the official podcast of T-Bex.
It's another podcast I produce and co-host with T-Bex CEO Rick Calvert. In the newest episode, we have the legendary travel writer Tim Leffel on the show. Tim just did an interesting survey about when and how travel content creators will start traveling again, and when the destinations are going to start hosting us.
I think things are starting to tick back up a bit. People are actually thinking about travel and doing a little bit more research. So we're seeing our traffic go up and rates go up. So nowhere back to where it was, and it'll be a good while for that. But we're also out of the dark basement, it looks like.
Just search for Travel Matters in your favorite podcast app. Now, back to the show, and through the magic of podcasting, I'm now in Durban. I've been on a plane the last couple of hours. I've been flying from Port Elizabeth, PE, as they call it, down up here to Durban. And it's 7:30 p.m., so the sun went down half an hour ago. It's dark, and I got my backpack, I got my rental car, and now I'm driving the 30 to 40 kilometers from the airport downtown to my hostel where I'm staying tonight. One of the things that I've been told many, many times is when I'm driving in the Eastern Cape, do not drive when it's after dark. And here I am, driving in the Eastern Cape after dark into one of the biggest cities in South Africa. Yeah. I don't think I should worry. The hostel told me that they've got parking at the hostel, so I can just pull right up to the door. And I spoke to my Airbnb host from Knysna. She knows Durban very well, and she said that I should be okay. And then she said that if ever I'm at an intersection, a robot, as they say, and I'm the only one there, stopped at a red light, I should just drive. And if the police stops me, I should just say I didn't feel safe. It's sort of an unwritten rule that they do that here because it is in the intersections when you're alone and stopped at a red light. That is where bad things might happen. People might show up and smash the windows and take whatever's inside the car. So if I'm pulling up to an intersection and it's a red light and I'm alone, I will drive. But hopefully that won't be necessary. Hopefully, I expect this to go smoothly. It's another Toyota Corolla that I'm driving in, and this is going to be my vehicle for the next 15 days. Tomorrow I'm staying here in Durban and we'll take a look at it, and I'm so looking forward to that. I'm in Durban today, and on the plane I was reading the in-flight magazine, and there was an article about Durban, and it said Durban could be considered South Africa's middle child. Johannesburg is ambitious and soulful, and picture-perfect Cape Town is the apple of everybody's eye. And Durban, despite many charms, is overlooked. So
when I read that, I thought, okay, this is number 2. It must be bigger than Cape Town, but no, obviously this is the 3rd largest city in South Africa, and the biggest in KwaZulu-Natal province. It's on the eastern coast of South Africa, and it's a multicultural city. It has the largest container port in Africa, and it's got the biggest Indian community outside of India. In the city, it's got a population of almost 600,000. In the metro area, 3.4. Almost 3.5 million people live in the metro area of Durban. So this is a big city. Also, it's got the 2nd largest township in South Africa, and that counts for a lot of the people. And it's home to the amazing football stadium, and that's where I'm going now.
This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
So here I am at Moses Mabhida Stadium. It's one of those giant stadiums that were built for the 2010 World Championship of football, soccer to you Americans, and it's very, very beautiful. It seats 85,000 people, and it's mostly known for having this gigantic arch that goes over the stadium. Normally you could do an adventure walk in the weekend where you walk up to the top, and even though it's Sunday today, that attraction is closed. However, they do have a tram going up there, and I bought a ticket for that, so in a few minutes after a cup of coffee, I will go to the top of Moses Mabhida Stadium.
The majestic Moses Mabhida Stadium dominates the Durban skyline from afar, and now that I'm here up close and personal, it's even more impressive. It has a capacity of 56,000, expandable up to 85,000, and the most recognizable thing about this stadium is the arch. It's a 350-meter 1,148 feet long span that holds up the roof of the stadium. The top of the arch rises 160 meters, 348 feet above the pitch. They offer a lot of different attractions when you visit. Stadium tours, Segway tours, adventure walks where you get to walk on top of the arch. They also have the Big Rush Big Swing, something we'll talk more about later. And then you can get on the tram, a sky car that will take you to the top of the roof.
Rugby stadium, so no rugby.
And that's where I am right now. I'm the only guest going up at this time, and I feel lucky because that will also give me a good chance to chat with the guy who's taking me there. A young black local guy called, well, he says it better himself.
My name is Nkonzo.
Nkonzo?
Nkonzo.
Nkonzo.
Nkonzo means a church gathering.
Okay.
Like a church meeting or prayer meeting.
Is that Zulu?
It's a Zulu name, yes, I'm Zulu. Surname is Ngai.
Oh.
Ngai. No, it's a click. Click is very difficult.
My name is Pala.
Yeah, so I come from Hammersdale. I'm working in Moses Mabhida Stadium as a guest relations officer. So we assist visitors that come and visit the stadium to show them around and take them up on a sky car.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Hammersdale, which is near Durban.
Yeah.
So now I'm staying in town in Durban.
Yeah, and right now you and me, we're the only ones on top of the stadium.
We're at the highest place, in 106 meters high.
Yeah. And the view from here is amazing.
Yeah, amazing view. You get the view of the city and the view of the beach area and the suburb area, so you can see everything. It's like in the middle of Durban. You can see everything.
So looking down at this city, the 3rd largest city in South Africa, what's good about Durban?
Durban has a lot of culture in terms of our own heritage. You know, like we have a lot of things that we can contribute to South Africa. Like people from Durban, they dance a lot. Even though I can't dance, but there's a lot of dancers from Durban. Even the majority of artists in the entertainment, in popular music, they come from Durban.
Oh, really?
So there's a group now called Distraction Boys. The song of the year in all radio stations last year. They are boys from Durban. And it's always people from Durban that contributes to the culture.
Here I am at the top of Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban, all alone with Nkonzo, looking down at his city. He tells me that they, as a city, have come a long way the last 10 years, but still needs to fix a few things.
If you compare the city like 10 years ago, there's a lot of improvement, but we still have things to correct, like illegal immigrants, for example. It's not like I'm saying no to immigrants, but the ones that are here illegally, they're doing a lot of jobs that are not pleasant for the community, like drugs, prostitution. That's not a good thing. So it makes the city unsafe in certain areas where they operate. But also the roads have improved now. The transport system is good. We have the people mover, takes people all over the city. Also here, I feel like we also have a lot of... can you walk to us now so I can open? I feel like there's also a lot of positive things about the country. Like you see when they removed the ex-president, there was no violence in the street.
No.
What was expected. So I feel like we are also improving.
Let me tell you a bit about Jacob Zuma, the former president in South Africa. He was removed from power just a few weeks before this recording, actually when I was in Cape Town with a bird's eye view of the parliament, where he said these words.
I have therefore come to the decision to resign as President of the Republic with immediate effect.
Zuma surely had his ups and downs and one of the most interesting political stories anywhere in the world. I can't wait for the movie to come out. But it's still being written to this day, as he's about to go to trial again. So I have a chance to get a head start here. There's a lot to unpack, so strap in and I'll try to keep it short. He was once known as the People's President, but for some, Jacob Zuma's name has now become synonymous with the word corruption. Now he's in his late 70s and grew up under South Africa's racist apartheid regime. As a teenager, he joined the ANC, the African National Congress, and spent 10 years as a political prisoner on Robben Island outside of Cape Town, alongside with Nelson Mandela. After his release, he rose through the ranks of the NAC's military wing. He was a part of the negotiations that brought the end to the apartheid in 1994. Then in 1999, he became deputy president, but in 2005 he was fired and kicked out by the then President Mbeki over allegations of corruption. These charges were later dropped, and like another comeback kid, he became president of South Africa around 4 years later in 2009. On my first visit here in 2013, I got to see him on the day of the opening of the parliament in Cape Town. It's a tradition that they drive a motorcade on the day of the opening, and Zuma was in his Pope-mobile kind of car with bulletproof glass windows waving to the crowd and me. But his presidency faced a number of high-profile scandals. In 2016, as he was president, the High Court ruled that he should face corruption charges over a government arms deal in 1999. He also faced corruption charges over his relationship with the wealthy Gupta family. The Gupta family is a wealthy Indian-born family with business interests in South Africa that owns a business empire spanning from computer equipment, media, and mining, and has been the focus of widespread scrutiny because of its close ties to Jacob Zuma during his presidency. They were accused of having a big influence over politics in South Africa, and a lot of that was allegedly through Jacob Zuma. Zuma's rule has estimated to have cost the South African economy 1 trillion rand, approximately $83 billion. And to this day, he's still going in and out of court.
Former South African President Jacob Zuma appeared in court on Friday to face corruption charges relating to a $2.5 billion arms deal.
Back before he became president in 2005, he was charged with raping a woman in his home and stood trial for several months in early 2006. He ended up getting acquitted, but during the trial he said something that showed just how little he knew about the transmission of HIV and AIDS. Something he should have known, having been the head of the National AIDS Program when he was deputy president before this. The woman accusing him was a girl less than half his age and the daughter of a close friend, and he knew that she was HIV positive. During the trial, he said that she was wearing a short skirt and sort of asking for it, and when he was asked if he was using protection, he said that he wasn't. And remember that this was at the height of the AIDS pandemic in South Africa. That was the biggest in the world at the time. Then he said that after having this supposedly consensual sex, he took a shower to lessen his chance of contracting the virus. Imagine that in a country battling HIV and AIDS more than any other country, and their leader says something this stupid. This made South Africa's most famous political cartoonist, Shapiro, attach a shower head above Zuma's head to illustrate just how stupid this was. And from then on, this shower head over Zuma's head was in every single Shapiro cartoon, even to this day. Sometimes it would get smaller if he was doing well, and then huge if he said or did something stupid again. So he was acquitted from the rape charges, but over the years as president, the corruption charges just became too much for his own party, the ANC. The party that he had served for more than 60 years ruled that he should leave office. For days he defied those orders, but then he couldn't fight anymore and resigned. And like I said, just a few weeks before my visit to Durban. And the day before my visit, the director of public prosecutions announced that Zuma was facing prosecution for 18 charges of corruption, including more than 700 counts of fraud, racketeering, and money laundering. So you can imagine that this was all over the news when I was there. And everyone was speculating if their former president would go to jail. Do you think Zuma will go to jail?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Do you think he should?
Personally, I don't think he should. I don't think he should be the first one.
No.
If he's going, there's a lot of... For me personally, I voted for Zuma. He did a lot of mistakes as well. That should be dealt with legally maybe, but there's a lot of also good things that he has done for people. And so for that, he was not if he's guilty of something, he was not the first person they should go back to. Because if people who have done crimes before are not prosecuted and they start now, and this is forced by DA mainly.
Let me jump in here again and tell you that DA is the official opposition party to the governing ANC. DA, the Democratic Alliance, are still fairly small compared to the ANC. At this point, they were in the National Assembly with 22% of the votes and ANC with 62%. Obviously, the DA were not a big fan of Zuma and played a role in getting him to resign. And now they're pushing for him to get prosecuted.
I feel like also DA is distracting the parliament by always sticking to one person. Now he's no longer a president of South Africa. That should not be the main priority of them trying to make someone arrested. They should tell us what they want to do for us, so that we believe maybe... I'm not saying I should vote for a party that is dominated by black people, but if another party comes and present the idea not by color, just say we're going to do this and that. But I feel like DA is always pinpointing what the ANC is doing wrong. So that's the problem now. We don't have another option. No. So some people will say, I'm not going to vote. because there's nothing better. But we feel obligated to vote. But who are you going to vote for? If there's one party that did right previously, but they're not doing much right now, but then there's no other one that is saying we're going to do this and that to people. They're only saying we're going to arrest this one. What are you going to do moving forward, you see? Yeah, so there's a lot of issues.
So, in other words, Nkonso feels that DA should focus more about what they will do to benefit the country instead of only criticizing the ANC. And this is a country that still has its challenges.
If you look back to where South Africa is coming from, we're coming from an era where it was illegal to walk in certain areas of the street because some people thought it's for some people it's not like for black people you cannot do this and that. So when the apartheid era ended in South Africa, it was not something that the people who were oppressing people decided that we are stopping this because we don't like it. They were forced by pressure from the international organizations to stop oppressing people. So inside them, they still feel that they are not obliged to live with the rules. So therefore, when the first black president, Nelson Mandela, became in power in 1994, the past was not corrected. We just started afresh, but then we are in a race with people who has the economy and the land and everything.
There are 10 official languages in South Africa and at least 35 indigenous languages. Nkonso is Zulu, and that is the most common language spoken as a first language by 23% of South Africans, followed by Xhosa and Afrikaans. In fact, English is only the fourth most common first language in the country, but is the dominant language in government and media. For Nkonso and others, this is not without challenges.
For me, for example, it took me a lot of work to come to where I am. I'm still not where I want to be. Like doing this job, it's a good job, but I have bigger dreams, you see. But because, for example, I have to speak English in order to compete with other people in my own country, not like national people, not people from outside, but I have to speak English. But my mother tongue is Zulu. So express myself in English is not an easy thing because at home no one speaks English, you see. So things like that, they're slowing us down. You cannot really blame people who are living now, but at least what should have been done is to correct the past. To say if people did the wrong to others, they should apologize. And then we start afresh. If no one apologized for what they did, and then you can still feel it in the street when you're walking. I don't have much South African white friends. It's only a few, and most of those are young ones, like who were born after 94, who have no issues with the past. Also, I don't judge people as a group. No. You see, I judge people individually, so I give everyone equal chance until someone do something wrong.
On the way in the sky car to the top of Moses Mabhida Stadium, he told me that he's happy with his job, but it is just a job. He has bigger dreams and really wants to dedicate his life to making music.
I just signed a record deal with a company called the Movement Project.
Cool.
Also working with Universal, so my stage name is Mrepa. So,
Mrepa?
Mrepa, Mreppa. So I'm going to be releasing a song soon. I feel like there's a lot for me. Like I have a lot to offer with my music because like I'm ready. I've been recording a lot of songs. So
this is what Nkonso sounds like when he performs as that boy Mrepa. This song is called Mama Told Me.
Mama told me I'm a star. That is why you never stop this. I was really young, now I'm getting money. I'ma take it to Dubai, yeah. Mama told me I'm a star. That is why you never stop this. I was really young, now I'm getting money. I'ma take it to Dubai, yeah. All I wanna do is give my love to you, cause you know what to do, mama. I'm so proud of you, yeah. All I wanna do is give my love to you, cause you know what to do, mama. I'm so proud of you, yeah. Started rapping as a young boy.
This song is inspired by how his mother sacrificed everything to raise him and his siblings. The song was released on Mother's Day a few months ago, and I just spoke to Dat Boy Rapper again, and he told me that he's in the recording process of a full album right now that will be released in November of this year. But he'll be dropping a few singles more before then.
Soon I'll be pushing a Rari on the way to your house in Zimbabwe. Cause you told me I'm a star.
On the radiovagabond.com, I'll make sure to put links to where you can hear and buy the music. And then I can't wait to come back to Durban and catch up with Nkonzo again. And I will, that's a promise. And maybe we'll even do a full episode about Dat Boy Rapper and his music. That boy is going places. I can feel it in my bones.
Give my love to you, cause you know what to do, mama. I'm so proud of you. Mama, you know that I'm proud.
And that's all we have time for in this episode. In a few seconds you can hear me screaming in a clip from the next episode. But first I want to remind you that I would really like to hear from you. Where are you and what are you doing as you're listening to this episode? You can either send me an email on listener@theradiovagabond.com or go to my brand new website, theradiovagabond.com, and just click on contact. Or, you know what could be fun? Send me a voice message on WhatsApp and I'll play it on the next episode. That would be fun. My WhatsApp number is +45 40 105 105. Either way, I'd love to hear from you. It would be so nice to know who's on the other end of this. I promised you that I would get back to what is called the Big Rush Big Swing here at Moses Mabhida Stadium. It's been officially named the world's tallest swing by Guinness Book of Records. Here you can take a thrilling leap from the top of the stadium, swinging down towards the pitch, out into a massive 220-meter arch. And in the next episode, you can hear an adrenaline-seeking, middle-aged bald Danish guy take the leap. Yeah, that was me. This and much more in the next episode. My name is Palle Bo, and I gotta keep moving. See ya.
You know what to do, mama. I'm so proud of you, yeah. All I wanna do is give my love to you, cause you know what to do, mama. I'm so proud of you, yeah.
Produced by radioguru.co.uk.